In Ontario, the beer store can easily boast a far better rate of return on their recycling program than the Ontario government does. Anyone pretty much who goes into a beer store has empties. So you're recycling, and they'll even give you money back on those bottles as an incentive. Now, our little tyrant in training decided he really wanted to be like the felon down in the United States, and he said, okay, alcohol, beer, you can sell it in the grocery stores, you can sell it in the variety stores, you can sell it at gas stations because there's a good combination. But you have to take up the slack in the recycling. If we're losing this recycling process, you who want the luxury of selling these items now have to do the recycling. But they're not. They're complaining to the government that they've just removed the only, beer store within a 2-hour drive of some people in rural areas of Ontario. So they've lost their only recycling spot in 2 hours. But that's not the point. They're supposed to do it. And they are basically playing a game of chicken with our little tyrant in training, Doug Ford, assuming that if they just keep ignoring it, keep not doing it, there's really nothing that Ford can do about it. And I really have both an amused and aghast image in my head of Doug Ford playing, in The Untouchables, going in Prohibition style, saying, oh, okay, you can't have this stuff here, and taking out all their alcohol. That would be an interesting thing to watch. But why is it that Canadian oligarchs are so comfortable doing this sort of shit? Well, it's because of this. Now, this isn't the only reason. The government in Canada swore that they would do something about corporate price gouging, but then Loblaws wouldn't come to the table, so it all went pfft. Because if the oligarch won't come to the table, what are you going to do, right? And we had this recent little tiff with our felon cousin down south, and people didn't want to buy things that came from the United States. It was part of a boycott against the States for the felon in power punishing Canada for nothing, just because it felt like it. And grocery stores were taking things off shelves, supposedly. Well, apparently not. They decided they were just going to lie to their customers, because price gouging is lying too, so it's not like they have some sort of, moral issue with telling the truth to the public. Even though Canada is supposed to have these things about, advertising laws, you gotta tell the truth in advertising, blah, blah, blah. And yet, more and more what you're seeing is all of that is just lip service. It reminds me of Terry Pratchett, Death talking to Susan, his granddaughter, about how people have to believe in the little things like the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus before they can believe in the big things like justice and that sort of stuff.